welcome back to the WahooWarrior channel. I just wanted to make a quick little, basically kind of an unboxing video. I'm very happy so far with the tactics chat type of Taxis Talk videos and kind of the positive response that I'm getting from them. So I'm very much planning to continue doing those, and then hopefully morph that into more of a strategy and tactics as it breaks down with different armies, different combinations, and etc. etc. So apparently Warlord Games has been rather happy with my tactics talk type of session too, and they sent me a big giant box of stuff, and they want to know if I'd be interested in maybe doing some videos on some other products and whatnot. So it's kind of new for me. I've been doing bolt action battle reports for quite a while, a couple years now. I've never asked for or ever received anything from Warlord. I mean, I never asked. So, but they just kind of got a hold of me and some of the North America team guys, and they are hooking me up with some stuff. But I haven't opened it. I undid the tape, but I haven't looked. So it looks like right off the bat, got a Blood Red Skies, and I looked at this at Adepticon. Be interesting. I have not really followed much of it at all. I've always had a fascination for the airplane combats, so that'll be neat. Have to check that out. Doesn't look like there's a whole lot to have to paint, just a few airplanes, and then you start playing. I have always said for quite a while, it'd be nice to have a game that could just take a few pieces and play them on like a small tabletop board where you don't have to take an entire army. An IS-2 heavy tank. Now that is a big son of a bitch. What is that, like half 1,000 points? Man, I do have those Soviets in there that are just basically primered and a little bit of painting on them. I think they're trying to spurn me into making a... Actually, I just saw a Facebook post the other day about somebody. He was taking IS-2 heavy tank, and he was talking about, because it's one of his favorite tanks, etc., etc. And it's like, that's what I do like about bolt action. Is take what you like, make a list around it, and just have fun. I always had a huge fascination for like the Su-122s, those type of Russian tank destroyers. I have to maybe get me one of those. Well, that's cool. Now this is actually something that's interesting, very much interesting. Black powder. That's freaking awesome. That's a whole starter set. So my last shipment of stuff I bought, they sent me this book in there, and I thought that was pretty dastardly of them to send a black powder 2nd edition catalog in the thing. And they don't know who the hell I was. They probably sent it to everybody. But I was going through this, and I was really looking at it quite a bit. When I first got into miniature gaming, I had a Civil War set of these little tiny little plastic ones. And my dad actually had a friend who played Napoleonic miniatures. Well, I was too little to touch them, and they wouldn't. I got to look at him, and he was quite the collector. And at the time, obviously, I was too little to understand what it was exactly, but I was fascinated with them. So I'd look at these, I go through these, and I was just going through this just the other day. I even kept this magazine to sit and go through it again. So this is pretty awesome. Black Powder Waterloo starter set. I don't know, let's see what comes in it. So French, British, Hanoverian, Royal Artillery. Well, it's because I've read all the Sharps Rifle series and all that stuff, so I've really, wow, that's freaking awesome. Now I'm gonna have to learn how to play it. I'm gonna have to start painting it up. And that's a whole other genre that I'm familiar with, but but I haven't really brushed, you know, that's one of the things about bolt action too. My World War II history has climbed quite a bit. So yeah, I don't know anything about the rules for black powder, but I'm going to now learn them because it looks pretty cool. And I see on like some of the Facebook sites, you know, it looks pretty awesome. So then we've got Gates of Antares. Gates of Antares is a science fiction one, and again, it's based on a D10, which I think is fascinating. So yeah, the Gates of Antares section, that's a game that's a D10, and I have read a bit about it because I really like the D10 idea because I think it gives you a lot more range of variables. From what I understand, it plays a lot like bolt action, but it's just more in the science fiction world. So I'll have to check that out. I'm interested to read about the D10 system. I always thought that would be kind of interesting. And this is Pike and Shot. So Pike and Shot, civil and religious wars ravages 17th century. So this is, and that's, are these compatible with the black powder? Can you play them against each other? I don't think you can. Probably different time frames, or if they're two different eras. Because this is 17th century. And then Waterloo, I guess, would be after that, right? This looks pretty cool though too. It'd be similar, very similar to the same thing, but less muskets. I think more. I don't know. I'm gonna have to find out. That's freaking awesome. This is like Christmas. Very much like Christmas. And then I've just got a bunch of. I'm not sure which one I'm more excited about. I think this Waterloo, just because it's so cool. But the Pike and Shot one as well. But yeah, this is pretty cool. So then I've got some blister packs in here too that go with each of these, like the Gates of Antares, and then Concord support team, and a Algorand AI team, and a commander for Gates of Antares, and then a general for the Tar S Jinar. I don't know any of these words. Got a Imperial Japanese general on a horse. Maybe I'll have to get a Japanese one. And a Soviet anti-tank squad. Dog mines. And a light mortar and flamethrower. So that'll round out some of my Soviet, because I do have the Soviet starter army, and Alan, when we first started playing, he kind of put that together. He did put it together, and then kind of did first painting on it. I went back and redid about a squad of them, and they're starting to. I mean, our paint levels from when we first started. Especially, I had gone from fantasy to kind of a World War II. Some of my stuff was not great, and Alan was really new to painting, and some of our stuff was like substandard. My paint skills have gotten a lot better, and so I need to go back over that Soviet army and redo it. It's funny because when I read the books on Soviets, they seem like a no-brainer, top of the table, top of the tournament tables. Army, they have so many selections, but I think with all the different supplemental books coming out and stuff, I think that everybody's kind of catching up to options that the Soviets can take. Their books are well rounded though, I have to say. They have a little bit of everything, and you can run them in many different ways. I've seen a few Soviets either go big tanks, scout squads in, not scout squads, but submachine gun squads and trucks. If flamethrowers are allowed, they have a lot of options for flamethrowers. So the Soviets can be pretty potent, and then they also have some odd stuff as well, and some different rules, and they can be very powerful. I was at that tournament in Missouri, and somebody was playing a Soviet army, and they were playing it, and they're kind of a newer player. Eric down there in Missouri does a good job of bringing a lot of new players. And if you're in a local community and you're thinking, oh, I wish I had somebody to play against, I would send Eric Fontaine an email or a PM on Facebook and get some ideas from him. That guy generates people into the hobby, and I'm not, it just takes a little bit of effort at your local hobby stores, and I kind of did that in Nebraska when I first got rolling. Although everyone's been kind of like doing their own thing, we've got to kind of start trying to put some more games back together. But anyway, they're out there. People are out there. Bolt Action, and maybe these other games, once I kind of check them out, Pike and Shot and Black Powder. The joy of them is that if you can kind of corner a 40K player, you can build an entire army or 2 armies for the cost of a few squads of that other game system. They're usually very fun to play. They're very fair, balanced, as opposed to when I try to play 40K, and I'm not trying to compare game systems. It's just when it's not the sequential play, and I don't know how these play as of yet, but I used to just I just didn't find any fun in winning or losing in 40K, because, or even Warhammer Fantasy was rough, because it's your turn and you get to go and you get to just kill as much of my stuff as possible, and then I go and then I do the same thing. If you trust the other player, you could basically go get lunch and come back and say, what'd you kill of mine? But it's not very, there's not a whole lot of interaction. Where Bolt Action and some of these other Warlord games always keep you kind of going from turn to turn to turn. I'm really excited and interested to take a look at these rule sets. It'll give me something to do when I'm supposed to be working, or at least on my breaks in between work. So, alright guys, thanks Warlord. I am looking forward to start getting some of this stuff put together. And I will see you guys with the next tactics video. It's probably going to be mortars, I believe.